Hi, my name is Jessica Adnich, and I am the Senior Marketing Director for Reflex Protect. My background is actually in less lethal. And when my colleague told me about this new company called Reflex Protect, I checked them out and I was really excited about their new innovative product line. I'm here today to share with you our new Reflex Protect tactical website and division. We are really excited about it. You can go to reflexprotecttactical.com. On there, we have spec sheets, we have comparison charts to OC, along with our training courses. And with that, I'm actually going to bring in Matt Schaefer, who is the head of TDT and is our partner when it comes to law enforcement training. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good. Hi, Jess. I'm doing well. Thank you. And you?
Doing well. So it's so great to see you during these COVID times. You're actually in Ohio and I'm based in Tampa Bay, but due to technology, we can have this interview and talk about Reflex Protect Tactical.
Yeah,
For those out there, Matt and I actually have previously worked together. We both, being in the less lethal space, have worked for some very large brands in our past. And together, again, the dynamic duo is back at Reflex Protect, and I'm really excited about it. So to kick us off, Matt, can you share with anyone who might not know what tactical defense training actually does?
Yeah, we're a law enforcement and military training company. TDT's been around since 1999. We train all over the United States. We train all around the globe for the Department of State, for DOD, law enforcement from local, state, and federal levels, as well as Department of State vetted foreign nationals. Our specialty is law enforcement. And within that, much like you said, we've been doing training for some of the biggest names in the industry and over the past 20 years.
Yeah, and I remember calling you up before SHOT Show last year and said, hey, I'm working for this company and I think you're really going to love their product. And, have a meeting with them and we shipped you some samples. And now it seems like law enforcement is literally loving Presidia Gel, which is Reflex Protects. One of their main products is Presidia Gel and Reflex Remove. But let's talk about Presidia Gel. How is law enforcement responding to this new self-defense spray?
It's been absolutely overwhelming support for it. The biggest thing with law enforcement, much like when you first reached out for me, skepticism is a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
And at first response, it's like, okay, so here's another spray. What's unique about Presidia Gel is the fact that decons literally in minutes. Some of the guys in our training, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, eyes are open. Within 5 minutes, everyone's completely recovered. It's a huge game changer when it comes to that ability, because nothing else on the market does that. And the fact that it works better than OC, it takes effect faster than OC is absolutely huge. Most people are used to, getting sprayed with OC, and in law enforcement side, we always do some type of drill where, we spray a cadet or we spray officers with OC and they do bag drills or they do some type of hands-on defensive tactics drills, puffing techniques, whatever. And then as it starts to kick in, about that 4 to 7 minute mark, OC really starts climbing. And by the 10-minute mark, OC is in full effect. And no one's saying OC is not effective, because it is. But the reality is by then, the cuffs are already on and, the individual you sprayed is still climbing in heat. Whereas with Presidia Gel, the effects are instant, and it's just kind of the opposite. We have the ability, if they're cooperative and following directions at that time, to decon that individual, and they can be back to normal in a few minutes. It's phenomenal.
Which is really amazing because you and I are both very, our history is in OC. And there's cross-contamination. Like you said, it's messy. Like, who wants to spray somebody? And then you got to put them back in the back of the patrol car. And the decon process is so much longer. We actually have a SWAT training video that we're going to release soon as well, showing how the lack of cross contamination. Can you talk about the training that you did last week or the week before with the team? I mean, the guys were literally absolutely astonished at the products.
Yeah, absolutely. And literally every cop we've shown this to wants it. I mean, the bottom line is everything you know about sprays or you thought you know about sprays and decon simply doesn't apply with Presidia Gel. It breaks all the rules. The officers in question at the training, we took 6 volunteers, we lined them up, and I sprayed them from left to right, all 6 basically at the same time, one after the other. The first guy was already getting deconned, eyes open, before the last guy was sprayed. I mean, it's unheard of. There's nothing on the market that has that ability. And as far as cross contamination, I sprayed it between them. We've actually sprayed it inside of vehicles. We've done training courses literally where the entire course was done inside with no cross contamination. We just can't do that with OC. When you spray
Right.
OC inside, someone's coughing, someone's hacking.
Yeah.
That's not the case with Presidia gel.
It's truly amazing. So let's talk about, whenever we introduce this product to someone new and we explain to them that Presidia gel is a new formula of CS. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, CS, and they have those pre-existing notions of it. What makes, in your words, being in this life every single day, 24/7, how would you explain to an officer or a team, why does this make this innovation of this new formula so different?
Well, for starters, it doesn't displace oxygen and it doesn't atomize. Most people that know CS think of traditional 1970s CS, and I've pretty much been telling everybody, look, this isn't your grandfather's CS. Things have changed a lot with technology. The other side of that is there were other CS sprays on the market. Typically in the past, they would atomize. Most of the CS didn't make it to the target. They weren't as effective as some of the OC sprays out there. None of that's an issue with Presidia gel. That patented Presidia gel delivers CS where it needs to with no cross-contamination, and the ability to be able to then take and decon that in minutes. The Reflex Protect system is unparalleled to anything else that's on the market right now. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I think, and the way you put it is so eloquently, and I think that the key here is actually that Reflex Protect designed Presidia gel specifically in the beginning for hospitals. And because in that market, they really needed something that, didn't displace oxygen. There was no cross-contamination. It didn't get into the HVAC system. It was a safe tool that you could use to keep people in that environment safe should a situation happen. And now law enforcement are finding it incredibly valuable. The Reflex Remove was actually worked on chemists that worked on OxyClean. So the people behind these products are really smart. And it's amazing because, Matt, the less lethal industry hasn't had an innovation like this in like 40 years, 4 decades, which is a pretty long time for any kind of self-defense spray innovation.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that it works as well as it does, and I keep going back to every cop that's seen this wanted it. And I remember when we first started talking about it and they were talking about hospitals and some of the usage there, and immediately when you look at it from the standpoint of most cops that are reluctant to use OC, it's not because it doesn't work. It's because once they spray a suspect, they now have to go hands-on with them. The officer typically gets cross-contaminated from cuffing them. You put them in the back of the vehicle. The vehicle starts to stink. I mean, over the years, I've transported guys where I've had to have my windows down just because the off gas from spraying somebody. And, the suspect is now, drooling in the back of my cruiser.
Yeah.
Get them checked out by the hospital or by your medics. And, they typically look at them. They treat it like it's anthrax because this guy has exposure to them. None of that applies with Presidia gel. I mean, literally from the time the suspect is sprayed, they're cooperative, we decon them. The reality is the medics are looking at him and go, well, why are we talking about this? I mean, this guy's back to normal. There's no breathing issues. He's no nasal discharge. His eyes are open. Officers are back on the streets in minutes. Since there's no cross-contamination, I can put him in the back of my cruiser. I mean, I could fill a paddy wagon with him with no issues.
Yeah, which I think is huge, especially for our world right now, that, at the end of the day, we really just want safe environments and people to be safe. So the fact that we're able to diffuse a very threatening, toxic situation quickly, safely, and then everyone at the end of the day is going to be safe. That's really key. I think that's really great. And for officers to be able to get back on the job, I think we should talk about training too. TDT is doing our law enforcement training, and it's great to be able to have these guys do their certification and then be able to go home to dinner and not really be in pain when they take a shower the next day.
Oh, absolutely. And even because the decon is so fast, we're even able to cut down some of the training time. Typically in the past, if we did an OC instructor's course, for example, the majority of the day would be spent, deconning the officers who were exposed to it. On average, the officer would take a good, 40 minutes to an hour to have a complete decon, only for them to take a shower later that night and reactivate it. Whereas with Presidia gel, I'm able to spray 20 to 30 people in a class. And the reality of it is within 1 hour, everybody's better, as opposed to waiting several hours for multiple people to get deconned.
Yeah. And you don't need the hose. You don't need buckets.
Buckets of
you don't
water.
need milk.
No, none of the craziness that is associated with OC training. And the reality is, all the reasons officers hate to do OC training or even reluctant to use it on the job don't apply here with Presidia gel.
Yeah, I know you're excited. I'm very excited. The whole Reflex per team is very excited. And I think the other thing that we should mention too is that these products are made in the USA. Reflex Protect Company is headquartered in Missoula, Montana, and all of our employees are based here in the United States, and it's a USA made product, which I think is really great to be able to say as a company. So thank you so much, Matt, for taking the time to chat with me. It's always great to see you. I know that we have some really exciting stuff coming up in the future. And I ask all of you who are watching, please check out our website, reflexprotecttactical.com. We also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page that's under Reflex Protect Tactical. So be sure to follow those pages as well. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you guys soon.